In this video lesson, we're going to continue with integration, and we're specifically going to look at area again, but the area under the x-axis. So we previously learned this, that we were able to find the area enclosed by two curves between, it was x equals a and x equals b, which was the x-ordinate of their points of intersection. Okay, and we knew that we could find the integral between those x-ordinates of the points of intersection of f of x minus g of x with respect to x, where f of x was the upper curve, the one on top of the area, and g of x was the lower curve, the one below the area. What if we're given this though? So you might be saying just now, well, you've not actually got two curves, you've got an area under the x-axis. So I'm going to call my curve y equals f of x. I do actually have another curve here. I've got the x-axis, which has equation y equals 0. And when I look at what curve is on top of the area, that's actually y equals 0. So I know that in general I can integrate between a and b, and it's the upper curve minus the lower curve with respect to x. But here I've actually got my upper curve is y equals 0, and I'm subtracting f of x. And you can see I've given you two limits here. I've just called it -2 and 2. So that's what's going to happen for the area under the x-axis. We need to pay attention to the x-axis and know that its equation is y equals 0. So let's have a look at example 1. We want to calculate the shaded area shown. So we've been given the curve y equals x squared minus 4x, and you can see we've got a shaded area between x equals 1 and x equals 4. So the solution then, we first need to start by identifying the upper curve of that area, and that is the curve y equals 0. Okay, so we've got equation y equals 0 for the upper curve, and y equals x squared minus 4x for the lower curve. And we're integrating between 1 and 4. Now you can see straight away we can simplify this expression. We've got negative x squared plus 4x. And we're now ready to integrate. Okay, so we've got negative x cubed over 3 plus 4x squared over 2. And hopefully you can see instantly that the 4x squared over 2, we need to simplify that to 2x squared. So I'm going to substitute in my 4 and then my 1 and subtract them. So I've got negative 4 cubed all over 3 plus 2 times 4 squared minus the negative of 1 cubed over 3 plus 2 times 1 squared. That gives me negative 64 thirds plus 32 minus negative 1 third plus 2. Adding my thirds together, I've got negative 64 thirds plus 1 third, that gives me negative 63 thirds, and 32 minus 2 is 30. I can see that negative 63 thirds is negative 21, and adding my 30 gives me 9 square units, which is my final answer. So I would pause the video just now, folks, and take this example down in your notes, and then come back for the next example. Okay, welcome back, folks. And this time we've got another shaded area, obviously, but we've got two separate areas. Now we did this for the areas between curves in the last lesson. So we're just doing a similar one here. You can see that some of the area is above the x-axis and some of it is below the x-axis. So the first thing to do here is to identify the curves. Obviously I've got y equals 3 minus 2x minus x squared, but I've also got y equals 0, which is my x-axis. So for my area between negative 3 and 1, that's this area here, I've got 3 minus the integral between negative 3 and 1 of 3 minus 2x minus x squared, and I'm subtracting 0. And I'm integrating that with respect to x. So I can see that this expression doesn't change. I'm subtracting 0 from that, and that's fine. And that's what we were doing when we first started looking at area a few lessons ago. So integrating will give us 3x minus 2x squared over 2 minus x cubed over 3. And hopefully you can see that negative 2x squared over 2 simplifies to give us negative x squared. So substituting 1 and our negative 3 in, here we will get 3 times 1 minus 1 squared minus 1 cubed over 3 minus 3 times negative 3 minus negative 3 all squared minus negative 3 all cubed all over 3. So we've got 3 minus 1 minus a third minus negative 9 minus 9 plus 9. From the first bracket we get 2 minus a third, and the second bracket we've got negative 9. And hopefully you can see here 2 plus 9 is 11, and we're subtracting 1/3, so that gives us 10/3 square units. Now obviously that's the area of this first part here between negative 3 and 1. You'll also see that I've run out of space, so like the last time I would pause the video just now, take this part of the solution down in your notes, and then we'll come back and we'll do the next part of the solution as well. Okay, welcome back folks. So the next part of the solution then, I'm just going to move that bit over. You can see that I'm integrating between 1 and 2 for the other part of the area, for the other area. So I'm integrating between 1 and 2, and you can see here my upper curve is the x-axis. So it's 0 minus 3 minus 2x minus x squared. And I'm integrating that between 1 and 2 and with respect to x. So just simplifying that, I've got negative 3 plus 2x plus x squared. And integrating will give me negative 3x plus 2x squared over 2 plus x cubed over 3. This might seem familiar because it's the negative of the integral I had earlier. Okay, so it's almost like a checking method. You can check that you've integrated properly. That gives me negative 3x plus x squared plus x cubed over 3. Again, my limits are 1 and 2. And substituting in gets me this. And my first bracket, I'm going to get negative 6 plus 4 plus 8/3. And my second bracket, negative 3 plus 1 plus 1/3. The first bracket gives me negative 2 plus 8/3 minus negative 2 plus 1/3. And hopefully you'll see here that negative 2 minus negative 2 is 0. So we're actually left with 8/3 minus 1/3. So that leaves us with 7/3, or we can express it as a mixed number, 2 and 1/3 square units. Now I'm not done, obviously I've got my two separate areas here, so I need to find the total area, which is the sum of the two separate areas, 10 and 2/3 plus 2 and 1/3, and altogether there I get 13 square units. So before the screen goes blank, once again, if you can pause the video and copy this down in your notes before completing the assigned exercise for today.